Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today, in my first video for this channel, I'm going to teach you about Lunacy. Lunacy, which is a program about designing a user interface or user experience for smartphones, mostly iPads and also computers. It is free. It might not be a popular option like Figma, but it's so easy to use and work on. And I also recommend that you install the old version of Lunacy, which is version 9, 9.6. Why? Because it provides some UI kits for free. Today's video is basics of Lunacy, and at the end of the course, you will be able to make professional designs. Let's start with creating a new file or a new document, sorry, on your computer. You have a couple of options. And by the way, if your program looks darker like that, you can just change it from dark mode to light mode by clicking on the moon icon right here. So, to create a new document, you hover over the new local document and click. This is how the app looks like. Sorry, the program. You have a couple of options here like the moving tool, the scale, the eyedropper, the hand. You have the frame, the hotspot, and the slice, and a couple of shapes to use. You have the text, the pen, image, and the avatar, and the button, the placeholder, the checkbox, and many more. We're gonna learn the basics today on how to add a frame and how to make a simple profile. So let's start with adding a frame. Uh, there are all ready to use frames ready for you to pick from the frame option here. As you can see, you have frames for desktop and TVs. You have for the phones, you have for the tablet, the paper, the banner, the watch, social media, the icon. There are many options that Lunacy provide. So I'm gonna pick phones. If you have the new versions of Lunacy, you can see more frames available. Since this is the old version, which is 9.6, I recommend. It's only up to iPhone 14 and 15 Pro Max. I'm gonna click on it and it already made a frame for you. Now, there are a couple of options you can see on the right, on the left. You can see in the layers option that the iPhone 14, 15 Pro Max, and 15 Plus uh, layer has appeared here, or the frame actually has appeared on the layers option. You can hide it, you can lock it so you cannot move it. On the right, there is the design option. If the design panel doesn't appear, all you gotta do is click once on the frame and click on design so you can see the options. Well, first thing first, I can play with the corners right here. You see, if you can pay attention, the corner is kind of rough on the edges. It's I want it to be more like a circle. How to do that? It's really easy. There's an option here called the corner radius. You can increase it so it become kind of a circular. Uh, I would change it to 30. 30 looks nice. For example, if you don't want all the corners to be that circle, you can, sorry, click on the frame, and from here you can choose the independent corners, which you can change the other corners to your desire. I'm gonna keep it for 30. I'm gonna keep it about 30. Yeah, 30 is it's great, looks great. And I can change the color of the frame by going to the fills and click on the color. Here you can see many options. You can choose a solid color, a linear gradient, or circular. There's an angular, and you can choose an image also. I'm gonna stick with a solid color. From here, you can change it to any color you desire. For example, red, kind of blue, purple, pink, doesn't matter. I'm gonna stick with the white color. You can also choose the transparency here. There's also the border options, which you can add border to your frame. You can increase the thickness by this icon. Also, you can increase a thickness of one corner, or sorry, one side of the frame, instead of all of them being the same. For example, I'm gonna increase this one right here. Looks like a Samsung now. Yeah, like that. I'm gonna stick with all of them being 8, all of them being even. There you go. You can choose whether the borders are are inside the frame or outside. There's also the center option. I'm gonna stick with the outside because it looks nicer. You can change the color of the border. And finally, you can add effects. Effects like shadows, inner shadows, blur, background blur. I'm gonna choose shadows and I'm gonna spread the shadows a bit. There you go. You can increase the opacity here so the shadow can darken a little bit. The color of the shadow is kind of a gray color. You can change it to black. Uh, you can also add a blur option to it. There we go. Now it looks 3D like. So we said we're going to create a profile like UI design, which is pretty simple. All you got to do is go back to your tools panel. From here, from the image, there is the avatar, which is a circle image. You can also press the Q for a shortcut, for the avatar shortcut. You can just click, or you can click and drag like that. Uh, there's options here that can help you out with the position of the avatar. For example, there's align to the left, to the center, to the right. You can align it to the top, the middle, the bottom. I'm gonna stick to the yeah, right here in the middle, and not on the top, and also not in the bottom like that. You can change the photo or the image if you want, and you can generate an avatar too. There you go. Now, to make it look more beautiful, more pretty, all you gotta do is just add a couple of effects to it, like the borders, for example. I'm gonna add a border outside option and change the color to black. I'm also gonna add some shadows, increase the spread, blur it a bit, and increase the opacity. There we go. Now it looks more beautiful. Each profile has full name or a username. How do you add a username to this profile? Well, easily by choosing the text option from the panel. Again, you can just click and there's already a couple of options here, like for example, full name. I'm going to choose a full name. And you can also click and drag. The longer the drag or the bigger the drag, it can change. I'm going to stick with the click option. I'm going to click once. I'm going to choose a full name. Now, It's small, so I'm gonna make it bigger by going to the font size and increase it. You can increase it by either choosing one of the options below here, or you can move your mouse a little bit to the left and you can see this two-headed arrows option. And just by click and holding, you can increase the font and decrease it. And you can change the color easily too by clicking this color palette option, change it to the color black. Now, if you've noticed that the font seems like it's not that bold, and I like my fonts kind of bold, what I like to do is you go to the font weight option and choose whether you want it to be thin or you can choose it to be extra bold, but I like it semi-bold, which is this one. Looks nice. Uh, if you have seen what I'm doing right now, the name is on the left. It's aligned on the left. If I want to make my font to be in the middle, the sentences or the name to be in the middle, you can easily do that by choosing the alignment the alignment options here. I'm gonna choose the align center option here, and yeah, perfect. It looks beautiful now. From there, you can add more options like fill, borders, and effects. I'm just gonna add a simple effect, which is the shadow. Um, Increase the opacity and blur it a little bit. Fortunately, there's no spreading option here because it's a font. It's not a picture. It's not a shape. So you don't have the spreading option. Maybe in the new versions of Lunacy, this option is available, but right now it's not available in 9.6. I don't think it will ever be. Uh, After that, you can add another shape for, let's say, we are making a social media app, and in the profile, you can see the pictures they they posted on their profile. You can easily do that by choosing an image and align each one here. But what I like to do is I would make a couple of squares around here. There we go. If you want to duplicate your square, you can press and hold the Alt key on your keyboard and then click and drag it. Release the mouse and you have a duplicate of that square that you made. I'm gonna choose the two. If you want to choose both of those squares, hover on the first one, click, and then press and hold the Shift button key on your keyboard and click. There you go. Now you have both of them selected and duplicated. As we said before, you press and hold the Alt key on your keyboard and then click and drag to the bottom. There we go. One last time. There we go. So, how do you put an image here? Well, easily by going to the fills, choose the color palette, and as we said before, there are a couple of options here. You could choose a solid color, you can choose a gradient, you can choose a circular gradient, an angular gradient, and finally the image fill. Uh, since I don't have an image, I'm gonna just add, actually, I'm gonna add any image that I have right now, which is this one. There you go. You also have the remove background. It's really good option that Lunacy provide. It can remove the background. Sometimes it works, other times it's not perfect. And you can do the others the same. You just click on the fills, choose the image fill, and you choose an image. There you go. Answer repeat for the other one. So this was the basics of lunacy. There, of course, there are more up there, and can learn more from it in the second part. Hope that you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about this video, if you have any questions about lunacy, please leave your question in the comments. Thank you.